Route 616, your home for all things Marvel main continuity. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. This is episode 81 of Route 616. We are missing a particular Dan yet again, but Bill is here with us.
Hey.
The old man's still having technical difficulties, so hopefully one of these weeks we'll get him back. But for now, Bill will be the scapegoat of the podcast, so...
Yeah, apparently I've become a Jack Perry fan. Wasn't expecting that.
I think a lot of people have.
Apparently his personality was just located in Japan and he had to go over there and find it.
Yep, pretty much. So, I was just thinking of anything pop culture that's come up over the last week.
Finally saw the Iron Claw.
Oh, did you? I still haven't watched it.
Holy shit, is it good.
Yeah, I keep hearing
but
it's
also,
really good.
It is super depressing. Even knowing the Von Erich story, it's super depressing.
And it doesn't even cover all of the depressing things.
Yeah, no, they cut Chris because it was too depressing. So they combined him into another brother.
God damn.
Seriously, like the director just said, look, we can't have him in there because people can only handle so much depression.
I've got to watch that.
Oh, it's really good. I was expecting, just sort of okay, and a lot of people pumping up Oscar buzz because it's about real people and it's a sad story, and that stuff usually gets Oscar buzz even if the movie's just like average. But it is really good.
So it's earned its hype, you would say?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's good to hear.
It's one of those movies that I'm putting on the great, but I will never watch again category.
Damn. Wow, that's saying a lot.
The Thing made Marshall and Ross Von Erich super lovable at the end, which alone already made me angry because I like hating Marshall and Ross Von Erich for being terrible wrestlers. To be clear, it has no bearing on their personalities whatsoever. They seem like great people, but they're not interesting wrestlers. And so I've been vocal in my dislike of them for years. And then at the end, it ends with a really touching scene with them as children. And it's like, oh, you're making me feel things for people I've made my personality around disliking.
I love that we've found a way to bring wrestling into the main podcast too now.
That movie kind of transcends wrestling, to be honest.
I mean, it does.
A lot of normies have been going to it just because of the hype, and it's one of those movies that's about a wrestler, but it's not really a wrestling movie.
Yeah. And I mean, wrestling is as hot and as mainstream as it has been in a long time anyway, so it's all works out.
It's probably as hot and as mainstream as it's ever going to get again, realistically.
Possibly, yeah.
We're not going to have another Attitude Era.
Yeah.
Even if they book that way, it's not going to happen again. It was just a whole bunch of stars aligning right.
Yeah, it was just a perfect... It was a perfect time period for the perfect stuff. Everything aligned right.
Yeah. I think this is as hot as it's ever going to get again. I think it's going to stay this hot because there's enough companies out to adjust to people's tastes. But I don't think it's going to get any hotter because it is a niche interest.
Well, and there was also such a large pool of TV viewers too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of anything else.
Heard the new Star Wars preview is good.
I haven't seen it.
I heard haven't either because I'm not really interested in Star Wars, but
I don't even know which Star Wars movie is next.
I think it's the Acolyte. It's called. I think it's a TV show. Maybe.
Oh, the Acolyte. Yeah, that's their new TV show. That one actually does look pretty good. I saw a teaser for that a little while ago, and people have been shitting on it for some reason. I think it's
because
people just
it's just cool to hate
stuff.
Star Wars. Same as hating the MCU now. There's just a demographic that just likes to hate stuff.
There seems to be this group of Star Wars fans that just don't like when they try to explore new stuff in the Star Wars universe.
It's not even that, because they don't like the old stuff anymore either. They shed all over the first one of the sequel trilogy for just being A New Hope again.
Well, to be fair, it was.
Yes, that was justified, but my point is just that they don't like anything. They just, because they don't like it when it's the same or when it's different. They just like being angry.
Yeah, true.
And I mean, the same people talk about the MCU all the time. It's really funny when they get proven wrong and have to eat crow a little while later. Like, I've been watching them quietly walk back how much they hated X-Men 95, I think it is.
97.
97, yes. I forgot what year it was, but turns out that show's like really good, and even they can't maintain hating it because everyone loves it. So they've been quietly walking back that they actually like the show.
Oh yeah, it's like gotten the top of top reviews that you can get and everything. People love that show. I have not finished the original show, so I haven't been watching it.
I haven't watched it because I've got too much other stuff going on already. I don't have time for it.
Yeah. MCU. I saw that I'm excited. There's apparently there's a secret project that's in the works because the guy that's a really great actor, his first name's Giancarlo, but he played Gus on Breaking Bad, and he's done some really awesome roles over the years. But he's been cast for a secret project apparently. That's a whole like new property and stuff. So I'm excited to see what that is because he's a great actor. So I have faith that he can make something of whatever.
That's not necessarily enough to save things.
Oh no, but I mean, at least he'll be a joy to watch. Probably,
I've seen
even if
plenty
the
of
Finn is bad.
great actors getting thrown into absolutely dog shit scripts in Phase 4.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, at least if the movie as a whole sucks, at least he'll put his all into it to make his role good. Because he's a great actor.
I wonder what they could be casting him as.
I don't know. I'm curious. He was cast as a Star Wars villain in the Mandalorian show too a while ago, and he killed that too. He's killed everything I've seen. He's killed every role I've seen him in. So I'm kind of excited to see what he could play as a Marvel character. But I saw that last night, and
He
I
might
got
actually
excited.
be a new character. Or he's Robbie.
Yeah, I wonder if they meant. I do wonder now that you said it like that, if he meant new character as in one that hasn't been adapted yet, or like an actual new
I can't think
character.
of a comic character other than Robbie Robertson who looks like him.
Yeah.
Now, that's not necessarily a barrier because they have changed the appearance of other characters such as Namor.
Yeah.
But he's also kind of old to be playing a superhero, so I imagine he'd be playing some civilian.
Either a civilian or some kind of villain is my guess. I mean, he's known as being a great actor of villains, so.
Yeah, he could be like a corporate villain or so, but I'm wondering if they're moving away from straight comic adaptations and trying to go their own direction, which would be a good move for the MCU. It might give them the focus they're missing.
Well, I mean, it would be something to try. Try to find your Daryl Dixon.
Yeah. Or,
Why not?
You know what they might be doing?
What's that?
What if they're doing a movie version of the Marvels? Like, the comic series.
Yeah, like with the guy that's...
With the reporter.
Yeah, the reporter that you get the point of view of and is seeing all the heroes do their activities.
Yeah, because he would be awesome at that.
That'd be interesting.
I need to be careful to not work myself into a shoot about that, because now I want it.
Yeah, because you'll get yourself excited for it when it's nowhere near what they're doing, probably.
Yeah, but that would be amazing, and I've heard them tossing around the idea of doing it in the past.
Yeah, something. Either way, I'm excited because he's just a really good actor, so I
Oh,
have
yeah.
faith that he'll make something of whatever he's given. And it's also cool that he is willing to play roles that are in the nerdier fandom, since he's done that Star Wars film and now he's gonna do something with Marvel. That's pretty cool to me.
Yeah, well, it's not 2002 anymore. Nerdy movies have been shown to, like, legitimately draw.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's rare now that you find a mainstream actor that won't do them.
Trying to think of other stuff that's come out recently. I know they dropped the Transformers trailer. I kind of didn't realize they were still making those movies.
I'm
I
kind of
don't care for
disappointed
them.
to find out they're still making those movies. They haven't done a good one yet.
Chris Hemsworth is in the new one, which is interesting.
I'll probably watch it. I've watched all the other Transformers.
I haven't. I've only watched the first one, and I didn't like it.
See, I find them fine. They're good for just turning your brain off and killing an hour and a half.
I've just never been a Transformers fan, so
Yeah. That actually probably helps enjoying the movies, honestly.
no, it probably would, because I'd probably be more upset if I was a Transformers
Yeah,
fan.
if you were a Transformers fan, you notice all the things they got wrong and, like, shit on, but I
But that's
treated it as
probably
an entirely new property and didn't expect much from it. And just enjoyed the fact that Michael Bay is basically the Vince Russo of movies.
yeah, that's a good summation. Oh my.
Tell me when I'm telling lies.
Oh shit. Besides that, I can't really think of anything. But it's only been a week, so it's not like it's been as
Yeah.
long as it was last time.
And I haven't paid a lot of attention to pop culture this week.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of been a quiet week that in that aspect. I think anyway. Like I haven't really heard that much that I can think of the top of my head. So
Yeah, I usually find out when groups I'm in make fun of the angry grifters for yelling about new properties. That's how I usually find out they're coming out, and they haven't been yelling about much this week.
everybody's pretty satisfied now with their X-Men 97s and such. So
I think they're just laying low and hoping people forgot that they hated it so that they can move on to the next thing.
I mean, we get ever closer to Deadpool and Wolverine, but we talked about that last week.
Yeah, and I continue to not want to see it.
I continue to want to see it. We're on the opposite sides of the spectrum.
I don't trust, like, Disney with that property.
I have something on the tip of my tongue, and I don't remember what it was. I saw like a trailer or a teaser for something that was coming, I think this month, and I forget what it is now. So, oh well.
It wasn't that shark movie Dan sent us, what is it?
No, it was like I think it was something from a franchise or something, or maybe not a franchise, but it was something. But I don't remember. I think it was a movie. Maybe I'll do a quick search for movies coming out in May and see if it pops out to me. I think I just saw it last night or the night before. I mean, there is there's that If movie that's been getting a lot of attention. That comedy with Ryan Reynolds. That looks like it could be
Oh, yeah,
interesting.
the invisible, or the imaginary friends
Imaginary
thing.
Friends. Looks like
Yeah,
it could be
that
fun
looks
for
real bad.
it looks pretty bad, but fun for younger audiences.
Yeah.
I forgot
See,
there's
the
a new.
problem with Ryan Reynolds is that he's basically Deadpool in everything he plays now.
Yeah.
And he can do more. It's not that he can't. He's just gotten lazy with his success.
Yeah, and a bit of oversaturation as well doesn't help.
Yeah, but the problem is everyone just wants Deadpool when they cast him.
I mean, he was great in I think it's called The Proposal. Is that the one he was in with Sandra Bullock?
I think so.
That's a great movie. I watched that like a year ago and really enjoyed it. I forgot there was a new Planet of the Apes coming.
There's always a new Planet of the Apes coming. That's another franchise that
I've
just
never
won't
watched
die.
them. Oh, there it is right there. That's what I was thinking of. The Strangers Chapter 1 is coming. That's what I saw the trailer for the other night. And it does not look that good.
I mean, you said it was The Strangers. You could have just stopped there.
I mean, I liked the other ones, but
I
this
know
one
you
looks
did.
like this one looks like they're going too far with it. It's like they're playing around with the early that you don't touch. It's one of those properties you don't need to touch an origin for type thing.
That's one of the issues with modern Hollywood. Everything needs an origin.
Oh, Madeline Petch is in the movie though. I didn't know that. She's good. Oh, that must be she's the girl. I knew she looked familiar. I didn't realize it was her. Interesting. There's a Garfield movie coming? What the fuck?
There's another Garfield movie coming?
It's an animated one. It's called the Garfield movie.
Okay, that's better than the live action ones they did like a decade ago.
And it looks like he's like a Garfield. The picture here is a weird cartoon looking John, and then this like Garfield's like a kitten. He's a little small, little cute fella.
Oh, so they're trying to do that like popular
Oh,
comic with the little gray cat, only Garfield's like ripping it off.
what is this cast? Chris Pratt, Samuel L. Jackson, Nicholas Hoult. Oh my god. Not Chris Pratt in another animated film. Oh, they're doing another Mad Max. Hopefully people will be happy
Yeah, that
with
looks
that.
really good. The
Oh, and
Furiosa movie.
yeah.
I loved Mad Max Fury Road, so
Chris Hemsworth and Anya Taylor-Joy. That
are
actually...
they actually billing Hemsworth for it?
Yeah.
Wow, because it's like completely focused on Furiosa. I didn't even know Max was in it. They must have done that for marketing purposes.
There's one or two of the slides of pictures with him in it here, so he's probably been showing a tiny bit, but
Yeah, he's not top billing in that movie for sure.
yeah.
But they're probably putting his name up there to shut the chuds up.
Oh, I forgot about this one. Now we're just kind of running through stuff coming out this month, but it gives us a little segment, so that's fine. But this one is titled "In a Violent Nature," and it's a horror movie. It's kind of getting some viral marketing because it's a horror movie from the killer's perspective, and apparently the early reviews say it's really good.
They've tried that before and ended up being complete exploitation films, so I'm a little skeptical. But if they can do it well,
There's all the potential in the world for it to be something, but it
problem
depends on
is
how
you
they.
need to be able to make the audience culpable for continuing to watch.
Yeah.
If you can't pull that off, it's just an exploitation film.
There's a few others here, but I don't really know what they're about. So that's gonna be our talk about some of the movies coming out this month. I mainly just looked at that because I wanted to figure out what movie I was thinking of, and it was The Strangers Chapter 1. Which I will probably begrudgingly watch and hope is alright, but don't have faith in.
And I will completely not begrudgingly mock you for watching it. Possibly publicly, but definitely in private. The public mocking really requires me to remember when we're recording the podcast.
Yeah, it depends how close to when we're recording I watch it and
Yeah.
what happens throughout the week.
Is it still in my memory to make fun of you? Or more accurately, have I not moved on to something else?
Exactly. Because it's not like I don't give you material to work with, so... Anyways, though, let us move into the comics now because we're about hitting that 20-minute point. That's kind of our sweet spot for the opening stretch of this podcast. So today we have half Hulk and half Thor, and unfortunately we're starting with the Hulk half. Although this time it is
So does
overall
that
pretty
make
good.
this issue about whore?
Okay. Anyways, we're gonna start today with Tales of Astonish number 77B story. This one is titled Bruce Banner is the Hulk.
Still better than Bruce Banner is the whore.
I don't know. For him, I think that's worse. But
We don't have Dan here. I got to make the bad jokes this week.
apparently. But anyways, we got Stanley writing this. Jack Kirby and John Romita Sr. are on the art this time, and Romita Sr. did the inks. And they both, and they both did the cover for us. Sam Rosen has done letters. December 1965 release date, 10-page story, and I will take this one away. Okay. So, Bruce Banner is the Hulk. In a distant future time, the Hulk battles the Executioner, who has also been banished this era, and he wasn't banished, was he? I'm pretty sure he went of his own volition. He wanted to be seen as he wanted to look good to Asgard when he went back or whatever. But whatever, I don't know. Been banished this era.
I took their word that he was banished because I didn't feel like going back and looking at old Executioner stories to figure out the true story.
Yeah, I think that's wrong, but we'll run with it. Has also been banished this era and is in conflict with King Arkham. Back in the present, General Ross has called in Rick Jones to explain what effect Bruce Banner's T-Ray had and what Banner's connections to the Hulk may be. Jones can't answer his questions, and when he is dismissed, he is unaware that Glenn Talbot has decided to tail Rick to try and find some answers. And that's the last time we'll see General Ross in this arc. Back in the distant future, the Hulk manages to fight off the Executioner and his attacking army, turning back the tide of war and winning a victory for King Arkham. In the present, the guilt-racked Rick Jones returns to Banner's secret lab to mourn the apparent death of his friend and determine what he should do next. Glenn eventually reveals himself to Rick and asks Rick to reveal the secret he's obviously been hiding for months now that the Hulk has met his apparent demise. Cracking under the pressure of keeping his secret, Rick reveals to Glenn that the Hulk was really Bruce Banner, and Glenn tries to get the despondent Rick to tell more. Well, in the future, the Hulk begins to fade away, being transported back to the present as the effects of the T-Ray wear off. The Hulk begins to rematerialize in Banner's old lab just as Talbot chases after Rick, hoping to get more information out of him. And that was that one. So yes,
it's a lot better than it sounds in summary.
It is better than it sounds, and yes, it was pretty much a story. It was a story revolved around Rick telling the truth about Bruce Banner and the Hulk being one and the same.
Yeah, it's a rare case where a Rick Jones-centered story is actually good.
Yeah, I mean, he played his purpose well here.
And well, we joked that this is the last time you'll see General Ross for the remainder of the arc. His presence is felt throughout, so it's not like a glaring disappearance.
Yeah, I mean, Glenn's his running man.
Glenn's and he gets mentioned a lot. So, like, until you brought it up last issue and I paid attention this week, I didn't even notice that he wasn't there.
I think I only I knew too because I looked at the comments on the site after I read that one, I think.
Yeah, and those comments were probably posted after I read it because I don't remember people talking about it.
Yeah. Yeah, that was pretty solid Hulk, really. I gave it a 3.
So did I. Pretty big change in the status quo, and one that actually sticks, which is pretty remarkable for the 60s. They don't brainwave them in 5 issues and have everyone forget that he's the Hulk or something.
Yeah, important stuff going on here. A hell of a turnaround after the kind of shitty last issue, too.
Yeah. And the fight with the Executioner, even though it was glossed over, was actually pretty entertaining.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Hulk is kind of getting pretty decent these days.
They're figuring out how to write Hulk, mostly by making the stories about the supporting cast and just having Hulk be like a force of nature that storms through and disrupts everyone's lives.
Well, they've slowly been piecing together how they actually want the character to function too, so that
Yeah,
helps.
I think this. No, it's not this issue. It's like 2 issues coming. I think it's the
Yeah,
first time they actually mention that the madder Hulk gets, the stronger he gets.
yeah, that's what I was waiting to cover. We'll touch on that again when we get there, but yeah, we'll move on to issue 78 of Tales to Astonish, the Beast Away. This one's titled The Hulk Must Die. Stanley writing. Bill Everett is here for art this time, and I think next issue as well, but he's taken
Yeah,
over
I
on
think
art.
Bill Everett's on Hulk for a little bit before he
He
moves
has
over
a
to
bit of
Namor.
Yeah, he has a bit of a run with the character, I believe, here. We've got Vincent Coletta and Gene Colan doing the cover because it's a Namor cover. We've got Sam Rosen on letters. January 1966 release date, 10-page story, and Bill will take this one away.
All right. Having been returned to his own time, the Hulk is quickly spotted once again by the military, which renews its mission to capture the Hulk. In order to aid their efforts, Glenn Talbot enlists the aid of Banner's replacement, Conrad Zaxton. His name is Conrad spelled with a K and a last name starting with Z. There's no way this guy is not a villain. As Talbot works to try and contain the Hulk so that Zaxton can find a means of destroying the brute, Rick Jones reveals the secret of the Hulk's identity to Betty Ross. Meanwhile, Zaxton has less than honorable intentions for capturing the Hulk. He has devised a scheme to use the Hulk's body to power his weapons in a bid to take over the entire world. What a surprise! With the Hulk trapped in a trench that has an antimatter force field keeping him prisoner, Zaxton dons a suit of armor and a weapon which will siphon the organic energy from the Hulk's body. Zaxton shuts off the anti-magic barrier keeping the Hulk at bay. As the Hulk climbs out of his prison, he is instantly blasted by Zaxton's weapon. And that's the end of this issue. It's also really funny how this goes for Zaxton.
Yes, it is. Another solid one. I also gave this a 3.
I gave this a 3 too, although it was substantially weaker than the last issue. Mostly because I was fearing they were actually going to use Zaxton as like a primary villain for the arc.
Yeah, Saxton isn't that good.
He ends up being great because they use him
Yes.
correctly for what he is.
Yes, but here he's used worrisomely.
Yeah, you're like, oh god, they're gonna have just a generic mad scientist who's gonna try to steal Hulk's power and make a suit, and it's gonna suck. And so I was very apprehensive, but I still gave it a 3 because all the Rick Jones stuff was really good.
Yeah.
There's an expression I never thought I'd say post Captain Marvel.
And as I joked in our personal group chat, the every new time we see Betty Ross, she looks older now. So
I think Bill figures out how to draw her next issue.
I think she still looks older next issue. So maybe it's maybe in the arc after it'll be better.
Maybe it's the arc after, but I thought I remembered like they colored her hair correctly and it fixed up the model. Because right now they're kind of trying to, other than the hair coloring issue, they're just trying to shift her away from generic Kirby female.
Oh, I think he fixes the hair in the next one, but the rest of her is still like she still looks old.
Yeah, well, she's going to be in flux until Marie Severin takes over. They don't really settle on a perfect model for her. But a lot of that's down to Hulk not having a steady creative team.
Yeah. Been flip-flopping a lot. But anyways, let us move on and get us our first dose of Hercules for the day as we cover Tales to Astonish number 79B story titled The Titan in Torment.
The fact that Hercules is on the cover should already give you an idea of how well things went for Zaxton.
Stanley writing, of course. Jack Kirby's going to credit here. I don't know if did he do work here that I just didn't realize?
Kirby's been penciling all these issues, That's part of why Betty has been so busted looking in them.
Yeah, that's probably
He's
why
not.
I
He's
remembered.
sketching them, but he's not fully penciling them. And then the inkers having to do a lot of work of cleaning it up and trying to impart their own style on it.
That's probably why I remember Betty being so bad in this
Yeah,
one.
because they're trying to pull her off of a Kirby model, but the pencils are still pure Kirby, so it's not consistent throughout the art process.
So Bill Everett's still here to try and pull out what he kind of Kirby's
I think
pencils.
Bill was on here in holding patterns until he could get back on Namor.
Yeah.
Because he was the original creator of Namor, so
Yeah.
he wants to be doing it, but they let him do Hercules when Kirby was cutting back his workload.
And we do have a Hulk cover this time, and probably my favorite of the week. We've got
It's a really good cover. I like one other because it's narratively more important.
Yeah. We've got Artie Smith on letters, January 1966 release date, 10-page story, and I will take this one. So, the Hulk is being attacked by Bruce Banner's gamma-based replacement, Comrade Saxton. Saxton has built a suit of armor and a weapon to siphon the Hulk's powers in a scheme to try and take over the world. During the fight with the Hulk, Saxton is overpowered, and his weapon is knocked from his hands. Its beam is directed at Saxton, killing him instantly. So there's that. He dies instantly in this issue. And it's kind of brilliant because it's how it should have gone.
Oh yeah, it's actually really funny that he's killed in like the first page. He just existed for a cliffhanger.
And he is never seen again.
He is actually dead.
Yeah, he's actually dead. I remembered another character. I think they make another character named Saxon or something, or it's
There's
very similar name.
Zaxxon or something similar over in Spider-Man that makes the Spider Slayers. That's who you're thinking of.
Well, there's another one that comes up in Hulk continuity later too, I think, but I think it's a slightly different name that I'm confusing or something. But yeah, military police arrive shortly after and attack the Hulk for killing Saxon, so the Hulk flees the scene. Meanwhile, aboard a train bound for Hollywood, Hercules and his new agent are discussing the hiring of Hercules to act in motion pictures. The two discuss the potential publicity if Hercules were to battle the Hulk. Coincidentally, the Hulk, while fleeing the Air Force, ends up damaging the stretch of track the train carrying Hercules is on. The two end up battling each other, both able to withstand the attacks of the other. The fight is evenly matched till the Air Force finds the Hulk and drops bombs on the two of them. Both men survive, and the Hulk retreats into the desert, hoping to escape his tormentors. As the Hulk hides in a cave, Hercules helps move his train past the damaged part of the railroad so it can continue its course to Hollywood. And that's that.
So this is a nothing issue, but it's a fun nothing issue, so I gave it a 3.
Same here. And I mean,
it was really just an excuse for them to try to get people to read Journey.
Yeah, and it's got Hercules here, so it's
Hercules
always a bonus.
Makes everything better.
Hercules is awesome at this time.
I'm serious. When he turns up in Avengers, it's some of Avengers' best stuff. Thor's always great when he's in Thor. The fact that he's just a jovial himbo just works in everything.
Yeah, and he even gets to lead the champions.
Yeah, but I think that's actually, I don't think he leads champions.
He doesn't?
That's Warren.
Oh yeah, Warren is technically nobody. Whatever.
It's Warren listening to Black Widow.
Yeah, because Warren's pretty much just the guy there to fund them or whatever.
Yeah, he's funding them, so he's like, since you're using my money, I'm in charge. But he doesn't know what he's doing, so he just listens to Natasha all the time.
Yeah.
Champions isn't very good, if you're wondering. It's like budget Kmart Defenders.
Shit.
Which hurts me to say, since both Hercules and Natasha are on the team, and they're two of my favorite Marvel characters.
That's literally like my dream team. Like,
oh, but don't worry, Johnny's not Storm. Fuck, I can't remember his last name. Other Johnny, Ghost Rider Johnny Blaze is there to bring the mood down.
Like a true Ghost Rider would.
Because this is back where Ghost Rider is god-awful.
I look forward to it someday. But anyways, it's
I
not
can't wait till you start reading some of the stuff that's like not shitty because they don't know how to write comics yet, but it's just a shitty comic book because it's really funny.
Oh shit, yeah, it should be fun. Anyways, we are not here to discuss champions today, so let's move on to Thor, number 128, the A story. This one's titled The Power of Pluto. So I wonder who we're meeting in this issue. Well, we met him technically already, but we're getting to more properly meet, I suppose.
And it's time to start a fun game of which religion is Stan actually thinking of?
Got Stan Lee writing here, Jack Kirby on art, inks by Fitz and Coletta. Jack Kirby's doing the cover. Artie Simic on letters. March 1966 release date, 16-page story, and Bill will take this one away.
Alright. Following his battle with Seedring, Thor has been put to bed and given the best medical attention that Asgard has to offer. However, he remains near death. Odin, checking on his son's current condition, feels guilty as Thor's condition is at least partially due to the fact that Odin had halved Thor's strength prior to the battle with Seedring. Returning to his throne room, Odin has Seedring brought to him, and as punishment has Seedring transported to the realm of the rock trolls, who take Seedring to be the king of their barren world. And I'm going to stop there for a second to see exactly how long that will be relevant for. Holy shit! He actually never turns up again. I was so sure he was going to turn up again in like 10 years and I could make it like, and that never came back to bite them in the ass joke.
Honestly,
I had saved it to look up here.
Honestly, I assumed he came back too.
Yeah, I was so sure that it was going to come back and bite them in the ass. But that was officially his last appearance.
That's the perfect layup for a character to eventually come back and rue the day.
Yeah, I guess that shows how much Seedring sucked.
That's hilarious.
Well, in California, now we're on to the good story. Hercules is taken to the set of a new Hercules movie being made by Stardust Studios to finish their story. The Prince of Power is completely unaware that the studio is in reality a front made by Pluto and Hippolyta, who hope to trick him into signing an Olympian pact. Under the guise of Stardust Studios owner JP, Pluto has Hercules do a screen test by fighting a mechanical giant. Passing the test, Pluto rewards Hercules by giving him a large feast. Back in Asgard, Thor begins his recovery, even though he's still confined to a bed. Thor is taken out to the frozen sea of Memora by Balder to do some ice fishing. That should have been 2 sentences. However, the outing is marred when Thor misses one of his targets, a gigantic amphibian creature, and it attacks their boat, forcing Balder to fight it off and flee the scene. While back on Earth, Hercules is asked to sign a contract for the movie during his feast. Hercules brashly signs the document, and Pluto reveals his true self and explains that Hercules has signed an Olympian pact. Both Pluto and Hippolyta boast about how Hercules blindly signed a contract to take over the role of ruling Hades for all eternity. As Hercules is forced to fight Pluto's hordes in Asgard, Thor has fully recovered and requests Odin to allow him to return to Earth so that he might have a rematch against Hercules. Odin, having put aside his differences, agrees to the request and sends Thor to California, where he finds Hercules battling the hordes of Pluto. Seeing his rival fighting overwhelming odds, Thor decides to lend a hand and jumps into the battle, fighting with Hercules side by side. Observing the battle, Pluto and Hippolyta boast about their victory and having accomplished their goal, teleport away. When the two finally defeat the horde of attackers, Hercules tells Thor what has happened, and understanding Hercules' fate, Thor decides that there isn't time for their final battle and departs.
Well, if there's one thing we learned today, Hercules would get absolutely fucked by Universal.
He totally would. I like this one, Even though the Thor stuff sucked.
Yeah, that's what I said when I was reading it. The Thor stuff, opening up with him healing, blah blah. I could have done with it, but it's a Thor book, so we needed it.
Yeah, this was 100% a Hercules story. They just needed to have Thor appearing periodically to justify his name on the cover.
Yeah, Hercules Heart carries this one.
I gave it a 3.
Yeah, I gave it a 3. It was close to getting a 2, but the Hercules stuff and the art was too good in this. So
It wasn't close for me.
it was on the edge for me between a 2 and 3. I really didn't like the first half of this with some of the Thor stuff and blah blah. So.
I didn't mind the Thor recovering from his injury because that was good continuity. And I didn't mind Thor going to Hollywood to fight with Hercules because that was a good way to bring Thor into the story. The only thing that really bothered me was Thor going ice fishing and the stupid battle with the
that
fish.
was the worst part. That was so stupid. I hated that part.
And
I like the end.
that was totally just Stan going, guys, there's not enough action in this action book, right?
Thor coming in at the end was good. I liked that part. It's just all the healing up bullshit getting there I didn't like. But it was, like I said, it was necessary in terms of the storytelling continuity. It just wasn't done interestingly.
I think it was necessary in terms of the era too, because nowadays you could do something experimental like having the title character only show up in 2 pages of their comic book.
Yeah.
But in 1966, you couldn't get away with that yet, so they kind of had to keep a focus on Thor just so that people weren't going, why aren't we seeing Thor in this Thor book?
Yeah. Well, interesting opening stretch to this little arc here. We shall move on to Thor, number 129, the A story. This one's titled The Verdict of Zeus. We've got Stanley writing, Jack Kirby and art, Vincent Coletta on inks, Vincent Coletta and Jack Kirby doing the cover, Arte Simic on letters, April 1966 release date, 16-page story, and I shall take this one. This is a pretty long synopsis. Well, it's a decently long synopsis, not terribly, but we sit tight and we shall get into this. Thor returns to New York City, where a crowd of people ask him questions about his going feud with Hercules. Thor finds that okay, that's already some mess up in the English here. Thor finds the crowd's questions too pressing and is given an escape when a taxi driver offers to get him out of the scene. As Thor has the driver take him to the apartment building where Jane Foster lives, the cab driver waxes philosophically with him. And that's actually a pretty fun moment where Thor is talking to the taxi driver, I thought.
I love that whole sequence with Thor and the taxi, especially the part where he forgets to pay at the end and just walks off.
Yeah, that was a good bit at the end too, but I thought the cab driver was actually written very surprisingly well in a good way.
Yeah, when he showed up first, I was terrified that they were going to do their version of Doiby Dickles, but he actually ended up being pretty good.
Yeah. Meanwhile, in far-off Olympus, Zeus is being entertained when suddenly Pluto arrives to hand over the signed Olympian pact that has made Hercules ruler of Hades, thereby freeing Pluto from his centuries-long rule of the domain. When Zeus believes this to be a trick, Pluto shows him the signed document and presses the ruler of the Olympian gods to follow the rule of the pact. I'll save what I was going to talk about for the end. Elsewhere, Hercules has arrived in Olympus to seek his father's aid. His travels are slowed when he must fight off a titan that gets in his way. When Hercules finally reaches Olympus, he finds that he is too late, and Zeus demands that he honor the pact and go to Hades and rule. Zeus gives Hercules an opportunity to get out of his bind. All he needs to do is find someone who is willing to fight for him. Back on Earth, Thor arrives at Jane Foster's apartment and meets his new roommate Tana Nile, whom Thor finds very strange. Tana admits that she is from a faraway place, however it doesn't explain her origins, and when Thor presses Jane for more information, she suddenly does not know much else about her new roommate either. Thor once more pledges his love with Jane and expresses his interest in marrying her. Because a god cannot marry a mortal, Thor decides to go to Asgard one last time and demand his father to take away his godly heritage so that they may wed. A decision that Jane is happy with, but is concerned. The couple are unaware that the whole time Tana has been secretly listening in on their conversation and has plans for Thor, plans of which require his godly might, and she plots to ensure that Thor does not return to Earth. Thor, meanwhile, travels back to Asgard where he finds Balder waiting for him. Balder explains to Thor that something has Odin disturbed and that he has been sent out to find Thor as quickly as possible, which made Balder's job very efficient.
They actually say that right in the comic.
They do. That's why I made sure to mention, because I thought that was funny that Balder's
Yeah,
like,
that was
"Oh,
really
thank
good. Balder's just like, well, you saved me a lot of work.
yeah, thanks, pal." Odin, not allowing Thor to explain his intended plans, tells the Thunder God that he must travel to the realm of Limbo to prepare through the doorway of all worlds, as a prophecy that will affect 3 worlds is about to pass. Thor has no choice but to agree and allows Odin to transport him to Limbo to wait until he is needed. Believe it or not, Odin does not listen to what Thor had come here to talk to him about, so.
Well, what do you expect? Odin suddenly becomes a good father?
No, of course not. He's no Christian Cage. Back in Olympus, Hercules attempts to get aid from his fellow gods to fight for him. Hercules attempts to get the aid of his enemy Ares to fight on his behalf, to which the god of war refuses. By the way, is this the Ares that would be Marvel's Ares, or this actually this is just Ares of mythology?
I haven't
No,
seen any crossover with another Ares, so I assume this is the Ares.
it is the Ares that Marvel would keep using. So this is Ares' first appearance. So that's cool. No, not his. Yeah, his first. Yeah, his first. This will be his first appearance. So
I think he might have been in that annual.
no, that's the site says it's his first appearance. I had to double check. I
Okay.
don't think you. Um,
No,
but
it's
yeah.
not his first appearance. He's shown up before.
Oh, in the Golden Age, he's been
Yeah,
used
he
too.
was must be in Venus. Yeah, he was in actually he
He's in
debuted in the Human Torch story.
Yeah.
And then he really got his character in Venus. I thought he had shown up before.
Yeah, so this is his first appearance in the Silver Age, is what it would actually be.
Yeah. That's why he doesn't have a first tag.
Yeah, makes sense now. Okay. I was curious about that because I was like, is this the Ares? Because I like Ares. He's a cool character. And I
I've
thought
never
it was.
really seen him used as a primary villain outside of those Venus stories. Because usually when they want to use the Greco-Roman pantheon, and I'm describing it that way on purpose because Stan conflates the two, they go with Pluto.
Yeah.
Or
Ares
Hippolyta.
definitely
I think she's actually turned up as a villain on her own once, but it was like a 2-in-1, so it barely counts.
Ares definitely overtakes in that department down the line.
That's
But
good because
anyways,
Ares is at least named properly for the religion he's in.
yeah. When it's time to find someone runs out, Pluto appears to gloat and as his minions rise out of Hades to take Hercules to his new realm. However, it's at this moment that Odin dispatches Thor from Limbo, having him appear in Olympus. Well, Odin doesn't really do anything. Thor hears the voices
Yeah,
and
I think
goes
whoever
himself.
wrote this summary misunderstood what was happening there.
Thor arrives believing that Odin wished him to battle Hercules. Huh? However, when the Thunder God witnessed the Prince of Power being dragged into Hades by the minions of Pluto, Thor realizes what he must do and challenges Pluto to fight on Hercules' behalf. Thor hears the forces and is sad. Thor knew that
Thor knew it
the
was Hercules.
Hercules was
He
gonna
wasn't
get.
going to fight him. I think whoever wrote this didn't understand what was happening.
Thor knew that Hercules had signed the contract in the previous issue.
Yeah.
Thor knew that he was in trouble going to Hades. Then he heard the forces and was so like, okay, this must be my fate of what I'm gonna fight for.
Yeah, so he showed up ready to fight Pluto.
And he was ready to fight for Hercules to save him from going to Hades. So yeah, that was a little confused, but there we go. We cleared that up. Anyways, number 3-star, one that was again kind of a little bit on the edge, but I was more confident about this one than the last one. But yeah,
This was another full 3-star for me. I love how much they're fleshing out the differences between Asgard and Olympus.
yeah,
Because it seems like there's just going to be common parallels with like shitty Father Zeus or Odin and like brash hero god of Thor and Hercules, but then the actual pantheons are quite different.
yeah. And the next issue we'll be covering here shortly, there's a big character they mess up, but the one from that issue we just covered that I want to shout out is my boy Dionysus. What did they do to you?
Oh yeah, Dionysus got treated very badly. I kind of got about him because he was only in one panel, but
yeah, he's just some fat bald guy eating fruit. That's not Dionysus. That's not my boy. I did a school project in like middle school about the gods from the Greece gods or whatever, and he was the god I was given to do he was the Greek god I was given to do a project on. So he is my boy.
And I've got bad news for you. He's never treated kindly by Marvel.
Ball. Marvel, you better pick it up.
He's even kind of a useless fat fuck back in Venus. Which, by the way, is a shockingly good series.
Wow.
It doesn't look like it's going to be that impressive because half of it's tucked away into romance order. But once you get past the fact that the writers there are even worse at mythology, as in Loki is one of the main antagonists. Yes, that Loki. Which is one of the main reasons they've been writing these books now, combining Greek and Norse mythology into one system because they're trying to explain why Loki was showing up 20 years earlier. But yeah, this was really good. I enjoyed the world building once I got past the fact that a lot of stuff wasn't going to work the way I knew it was supposed to from the actual mythology.
Yeah.
But I mean
it was
that's
cool.
not shocking because they took an awful lot of liberties with Norse mythology too.
It's still cool seeing these characters even if they're not really properly adapted. But that's fine. I had the joke about my boy Dionysus. So.
Oh, I'm never going to complain about Dionysus getting his props.
But yeah, let's move on to the last comic of the day, Thor number 130, A story. This one's titled Thunder in the Netherworld. Stan Lee writing, Jack Kirby on art, Vince Collette on inks. Both did the cover. Artie Simic on letters.
And we have to shout out this cover because this is a cool cover.
Yes. May 1966 release date, 16-page story, and onto the cover, like Bill said, it is pretty cool. The fading in from Olympus into Hades is pretty cool.
Yeah. The underworld actually it's not Hades because Stan didn't know that word, hence him being named Pluto.
Yeah.
Or he thought people wouldn't like the word Hades. I don't know.
Pluto. Maybe, I don't know. In the netherworld, underworld, whatever you want to call it.
Because those traditions are similar, and pre-internet, I could see them getting conflated pretty easily.
Oh yeah. So yes, well, let us move on to this comic. I'm just getting over the Hades Pluto thing now because yeah, it's Pluto's would be the
Pluto is Roman and
Roman
Hades
equivalent
is,
of
everyone
Hades.
else is Greek. That's why I've been calling it the Greco-Roman pantheon.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. Okay.
I think as they expand on it in the future, some other Roman names slip in.
Probably they probably trying to fix it and make it make sense.
Yeah, I think they decide to lean into it being a combined pantheon.
I don't know much, to be honest. I know more about the Greek mythology than I don't know much about the Roman mythology, so I don't really know anything about.
I prefer the Greek mythology. Unfortunately,
Me
astrology
too.
has kind of ruined Roman mythology for me because all the names were used as planets. That's what I think of first.
Yeah. That explains why Pluto doesn't become a main figure.
Oh, that was good. That was really good.
Shout out to Pluto. I miss you being a planet.
I miss you being relevant in comics too.
But
Who am I
anyway,
kidding? Pluto was never relevant. He probably won't show up again for like 10 years.
God knows. I'm not checking right now. But anyways, let us move into the synopsis for issue 130 of Thor.
All right. Thor has been transported to Olympus to fight on behalf of Hercules, who has been caught up in an Olympian pact to take over the rule of Hades from Pluto. Okay, so this writer is actually making that mistake. It's never called Hades, it's just called the Underworld.
See, I thought it was called Hades at one point in this issue. That's why I was confused too.
Maybe they actually used it and I glossed over it then, but I only remembered them saying the Underworld.
I think they said the Underworld in the previous issue and actually threw Hades in here at one point in this
That's
one.
actually worse. Oh, actually, that might explain the naming it convention. Stan might have thought it was too confusing to have the place and the god named the same, so he took the Roman name for the god to just try to keep things clear.
That's what I was kind of thinking in my head at one point when I was first thinking about it. But
That makes a lot of sense, but I've seen Stan make so many stupid mistakes that I just automatically assume he just doesn't know any better.
yeah, fair enough, really.
Yeah. Anyway, accepting the challenge, Pluto transports the Thunder God to Hades, where he is to fight Pluto's hordes and prevent Pluto himself from crowning Hercules with the crown of Hades, which it would consummate their pact. Traveling through Hades, Thor is confronted with the first of many battles. Yeah, I think the crown was called the Crown of Hades in the book. With the being known as Cerberus. This is a battle easily won by Thor, who manages to overpower the giant. Which is probably good because they butcher Cerberus worse than they butcher Dionysus.
Get buried, Cerberus.
Oh yeah, that's why they had to only use the Fenris wolf for canine mythical figures.
Sir, fucking sir. One of the worst adaptations ever.
For people who have not read the comic, this is a generic Kirby giant.
It looks like fucking. It looks like Evil Thing celebrating Mardi Gras.
It kind of does. While on Earth, Jane Foster worries about Thor and fears the worst. While her roommate Ten and Niall hears of her situation, she is suddenly able to hypnotize Jane and commands her to go on a long journey and not return. Jane takes off for Egypt. Back in Hades, it's not actually Egypt. I was hoping to pop Ryan with the Nile pun, but it didn't work.
I kind of zoned out for a second.
Back in Hades, Hercules is brought before Pluto, who is about to crown the Prince of Power with the crown of Hades when Thor suddenly bursts in to stop the ceremony. When Hercules breaks free and tries to aid, he is struck down by Zeus, who orders Hercules to let his chosen champion determine his fate. Thor battles Pluto's forces, defeating every obstacle in the way until he is caught in a turbulence chamber, which threatens to destroy him. Meanwhile, on Earth, still under Tana and Niall's control, Jane packs her things and leaves New York City, leaving Tana, who is... I'm not going to read that line because they're spoiling the next issue. Tana is up to something shifty. The comic doesn't reveal what it actually is, but unfortunately, whoever wrote this summary does.
I'm glad Hades, I didn't look ahead.
Thor withstands the turbulence chamber and manages to break free, fighting Pluto's warriors, including the super strong Crusher. Not that one. Not that one either. Thor continues to fight Trudy's armies, causing massive damage to the realm. Seeing the destruction of the Empire that he took centuries to build up, Pluto calls an end to the combat and agrees to cancel the pact that Hercules signed. Witnessing Pluto tearing up the contract causes Hercules to rejoice a little too much, and he almost causes the room to fall on their head. What a glorious himbo. When Hercules is about to start a fight with Pluto, Thor stops him and convinces the Prince of Power that to battle Pluto would be to act as a weaker man. Hercules thanks Thor for his aid, and the two gods leave Hades as comrades. It's hard when you're editing as you read.
Yeah, that's what I was doing with the last one too.
Yeah. I don't think these were written by a native English speaker.
I would say not, probably.
But yeah, this was a really good finish to the arc. I love that Thor couldn't actually defeat the forces of Hades and was eventually just, the battle was called off because Pluto's like, fine, you're breaking all my shit, just go.
Yeah, it might be seen as anticlimactic to some people, but I actually thought that was a very fitting ending.
He's
if you
fighting
think of the
in
characters
another
involved.
god's native realm. He should be not as powerful as them.
And I think it makes sense character-wise too for Hades to kind of, Pluto, to have to kind of think about it and go back on wanting to actually be in the regular world.
Yeah. And I didn't mention this earlier, but I love that Hercules got into all this trouble because he's dumb. The fact that they had the courage to just make a character, a main character. I mean, he's a side character now, but he's fairly prominently featured, and you can tell they want to do more with him.
Yeah.
But they made this character unapologetically an idiot.
Yeah. Just like Johnny Storm.
Johnny Storm is an idiot by accident, though. Hercules is a well-written idiot. Because he's likable, and it's understandable why he makes the mistakes he does. Yeah. He's just not that smart.
Yeah. If they were able to print more titles at this point, it feels like they would want to give Hercules one.
I think they were testing the waters for some of the struggling books to see if they could put Hercules in instead.
Wouldn't shock me. But yeah, Never Solid and Never 3, which means every title this week, every story we covered got a 3 from me.
Yeah, and that's going to become more of a trend going forward, because we're well into the section now where they know what they're doing with writing comics. If a comic's really good, it's because they did something special, and if a comic's really bad, they fucked something up, because they know what they're doing now.
Yeah.
We haven't gotten, like, the nuance that we'll start getting later with Shades of Grey, and so because the comics code is still pretty strict about morality. But they have the general structure down. They're figuring out how to leave us with an ongoing story.
The most Shades of Grey character we have right now is Namor.
Yeah.
Which is just a constant with Namor.
Yeah, and there it waves between, is it actually Shades of Grey or is it just bad writing from time to time?
Fair
That's
enough.
not unique to the Silver Age. In the Golden Age, there's plenty of, like, does Namor just suck? Or are they going for something here?
Yeah. Pretty solid week of comics, really. Pretty solid. Some good Hawks and some good Thors and some fun world building and mythology that wasn't fully screwed up, but partly.
And actually, now that you pointed out that they used the word Hades in reference to the realm at least once, I feel less bad about the Pluto thing.
Yeah,
because I can understand where they're coming from, not wanting the god in the realm to have the same name.
I think we cracked the code.
I think so.
I think that's probably what happened, because I could see why Stan in 1966 would think that would be confusing to have a character and realm named the same.
And I can't say that it's completely the wrong choice, because it's a completely different era. Like, you can't just pull out your phone and Google why is the name the same.
Yeah.
They'd have to either take the time to go to the library, get an encyclopedia and look it up, or more likely just go, this book sucks, and stop reading it.
Yeah, so that's probably what happened, especially since you also pointed out that he's the only real one from the Roman
Yeah, all the
mythology.
other ones had their Greek names.
Yeah. So that makes even more sense. But yeah, fun times. Hercules was the MVP of this episode.
Hercules is easily one of my favorite characters from the Silver Age.
Oh, Hercules has been great so far. Which I'm glad, because I also like him in modern comics. So
I have not read a comic featuring Hercules that I haven't liked.
yeah,
And yes,
I mean,
that includes Champions, which I acknowledge are probably the worst team book in the 70s where I am. But Hercules is still great.
So, what shall we be covering next week? Let's talk about. We'll start off with. Oh, my page isn't loaded to the size I need it. 1 second. That's pretty inconvenient.
We're kicking off with an important Fantastic Four. I can figure that much out.
Yeah, Fantastic 451 we're going to come back to.
That's actually a really good one, too.
Then after that, we're going to get a Sergeant Fury issue of issue 31 of Sergeant Fury and his Sound Commandos. And then we're going to get a nice stretch of Tales to Astonish A stories / Namor stories, where we're going to cover issues 77 through 81. So we're going to have a 7-entry episode next time. So yeah.
Oh, good. We get Neon Green Hulk. 81. The cover of it is such a bad picture.
I haven't seen it yet, but we still have to come back to it for the Hulk story, so.
It's a Hulk cover, and I think they colored Hulk wrong because he's like bright lime green.
That's funny. But yeah,
the Hulk story in that one is actually pretty good, though.
Nice.
Unfortunately, we will not be reading that.
Yeah, well, we're reading the Namor ones this go around. And,
they are, not so good.
I have been, informed by the Hulk comments of one issue of the Puppet Master return and of some stuff going on.
Oh yeah, this is the Puppet Master arc. I don't remember much except that I didn't like this.
But yeah, it should be interesting because I actually liked the first Namor arc. So this will be the second Namor arc, so I'm curious.
I liked the first Namor arc too. It's one of the last times I liked Namor.
Yikes. So yeah, we'll be back next week with that episode. We're going to try to stay to a pretty good schedule now. We'll see how things go. And yeah, anyways, if you're watching this on YouTube, please do like, subscribe, comment, and even share if you would like to. We're also available on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify, of course. And if you're listening to this on Spotify,
let us know why Dionysus is the best presentation of a Greek god ever.
You fucker. I thought you were going to go with Cerberus.
Fuck no, I'm burying your boy, not mine.
Fucking asshole. Anyways, we will see you all in the next episode.
Have a good one, everyone.
Out. Make sure you enjoy your fruits and wine.
Well, they're getting their fruits right here.
And that's called an end of the podcast.